Hello and welcome to People in Power. I'm Juliana Ruhfus. For most of us, Buddhism is the religion of peace. But in Sri Lanka, a group of Buddhist monks are pressuring the government to continue its pro-war policy to resolve the 24-year-old conflict with the Tamil Tigers. To make their voices heard, they've even set up their own political party, the JHU, which now has 9 seats in Sri Lanka's national parliament. Its members believe that only an all-out military offensive will bring the conflict to an end. But how representative of popular feelings are the monks of the JHU? And can war ever really be the way to peace? After decades of a vicious civil war, Sri Lanka enjoyed a brief period of calm. But last year, the army launched a campaign to drive the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, the LTTE, out of the east of the country. Now the Tigers are hitting back. At about 2 a.m. last night, the LTTE launched the first ever air attack on the city of Colombo. They used a light aircraft, which is a new development in the kind of weapons deployed by the LTTE. And ever since, the anti-aircraft guns, like the one behind me, are on full alert. One of the key groups behind the government's return to war is the new Sinhalese nationalist force, led by Buddhist monks. They are the National Heritage Party, or JHU. They reject making any concessions to the Tigers' demands for a separate Tamil state.
In a country, you get only one nation. So this country, Sinhalese, the name of the country in 1815 was Sinhale. So we believe the Sinhalese are the original owners of this land. According to the UN Convention, it's the right of the people who brought up the civilization to claim fight, and the Sinhalese have built up the civilization here. So we believe it is the Sinhalese right for the nationhood.
In the last national elections, the JHU took the controversial step of putting up monks as candidates. They won 9 seats out of 250, yet they claim to speak for a larger constituency.
Out of the total population, about 69% are Buddhists.
Although not all of that 69% vote for the JHU, they all know that we speak on behalf of the country's Buddhists. And the government knows that too.
What is the appeal of the JHU to its voters?
Their appeal, I think, is based on 2 things. One is that they appeal to Sinhala Buddhist nationalism. They are the most articulate spokesperson for what one may call an extreme form of Sinhala Buddhist nationalism. Secondly, the Buddhist monks are associated in the public mind as symbols of moral purity.
A section of the Buddhist clergy has always asserted Sinhalese dominance within Sri Lanka, but under British rule the Hindu Tamil minority were favoured. After independence in 1948, nationalist monks demanded legislation to redress the balance. Sinhala became the national language and Buddhism the state religion. When the Prime Minister, Bandaranaike, who had introduced the changes, began to waver, he fell victim to the wrath of the monks. In 1959, Bandaranaike opened talks with the Tamils in order to ease the tense situation between the 2 ethnic groups. Shortly afterwards, he was shot dead by an assassin wearing the robes of a monk right here at his residency. In the years that followed, more discriminatory legislation and even violent persecution of Tamils eventually led to the Tigers' brutal war for independence. For the Sinhalese, Buddhism forms the core of their national identity. They are especially proud of the fact that the religion has flourished for over 2,000 years in Sri Lanka.
Part of the whole mythology of the origins of the Sinhalese race and the Sinhalese civilization is that, you know, when the Buddha at his deathbed more or less consecrated this little island because its doctrine would be thrown out of India, where the Buddhism was born, but it will ultimately be preserved in Sri Lanka. So the Buddhist monks have this self-understanding that they are the guardians of the Sinhalese nation, which in turn is the guardian of Buddhism.
The Temple of the Tooth in the town of Kandy is the heart of Sri Lankan Buddhism. It holds the country's most sacred relic, a tooth of the Buddha. Ever since the Sinhalese kings held court here, control of the tooth gave the right to rule the country. To this day, it is a tradition which makes the monks politically powerful. What if the monks were not happy with the king?
If not agree with him, then we have to do some secret thing. The monks take the tooth out of the palace. Then people not accept the king.
So if you remove the tooth from the temple, the king is no longer king?
No.
So the monks are very powerful.
Powerful, but yeah, we are powerful, but we are not using our power to wrong way. We are using it only for the people.
The temple's position at the core of Sinhalese culture has made it a target for the Tamil tigers. What are the dogs doing?
Yeah, they are searching the bombs.
In 1998, tiger suicide bombers drove a truck filled with explosives into the temple walls and killed 13 people. Misaka Kalamasiri is in full support of President Rajapaksa's renewed military campaign against the tigers.
We don't like to kill. We don't want to see our dead body of the people. But the terrorism is here. That's the trouble.
It's very important for the Sri Lankan government to be seen to be endorsed by the Buddhist clergy. When President Rajapaksa started his term in office, he went over there to the Temple of the Tooth to receive the blessing of the head monk. Over there is a poster that shows the president giving alms to Buddhist monks. And over there to the left is a poster that shows the president being shown around by a Buddhist monk in a village that has recently been retaken by government forces. Since the renewal of hostilities last year, around 1,500 people have been killed, and 140,000 Tamils have become refugees. Mavarale Badiatero is preparing a doctoral thesis on the meaning of war within Buddhism. So what do you think is the best way to deal with the LTTE?
I think not deal with LTT. We have deal with Tamil. No deal. Because they are coming with guns. They are coming with claymore bombs. Now they are coming by plane. No deal.
So what should the government do?
Must fight with LTT. Must.
Champika Ranawaka agrees. He is a lay member of the JHU and recently became their first minister in the government. Would you then say that the JHU was absolutely instrumental in convincing the government that the current pro-war strategy is going to be the most successful one in resolving the conflict with the LTTE?
Yes. Now it proves one thing, that LTT can be militarily defeated without having any negotiations or so-called constitutional reform.
But not all Sinhalese Buddhists share the JHU's faith in a military solution.
I don't believe at all that not only in Sri Lanka, anywhere, war is the answer, because wars never, you don't have a winner in a war. Simple as that.
Visakha speaks from experience. 9 years ago, the army told her that her son had gone missing in action. She still hopes he will return.
His chocolates is still in the fridge. Still here in the...
How long have you kept them?
From 98.
Since he's gone missing?
Yeah. For me, why also I'm keeping all these things? If he comes, I don't want for him to think for a moment that you thought that I'm dead. If a person is dead, you know that you mourn, you grieve, you mourn, and then you come to terms with the loss, and then you start life. But when a person is missing, you wait for the person's return. Now, that is the biggest problem. And normally people say the time heals. But in a situation of missing, the time don't heal. It really aggravates.
In 2003, Visakha and other parents were allowed into LTTE territory to visit the battlefield where their sons were killed or went missing.
As there is a peace process taking place today, we actually wanted to come and see the place where our beloved children lie, and to take home a handful of that soil.
What they came across was the remains of 500 soldiers. They accused the military of burning the bodies to obscure the death toll. The government organized the funeral but didn't respond to the charges.
Everybody is connected to this war, you know. They have lost somebody close to their hearts. My younger brother was in the military. He joined when he was 18 and he rose to the rank of lieutenant when he was 21. So he was killed in action in the north.
Narendra Gunatilaka has lost many friends to the war. 5 were killed in one of the Tiger's most notorious suicide attacks.
The train which was coming from Colombo stopped here, and it happened as the train stopped. The bomb went off, and over 70 odd died and about 700 injured.
This seems to be a war where nobody is winning, and it just goes on and on.
We believe that if a correct approach is taken, only a 6 months period is needed to crush this military movement.
And what is the correct approach?
Correct approach is you give the guidance and support to the military and do not interfere into the affairs of the military.
How do you combine the principle of non-violence with the fact that you're saying the government needs to fight the LTTE?
ඔයා හිතන්න මහා ගින්නක් එනවා කියලා මුළු වන.
If a fire spreads through the forest, there's only one way to stop it. One must light a small fire in front of it. Animals and humans will get killed by that small fire, but it's better than letting a whole forest, a whole world be destroyed. Buddhism is about facing reality.
යථාර්ථවාදයට මුහුණ දෙන එකක් මිසක